Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pickleball and Politics, where I combine my quest to stay out of the kitchen with my passion for politics. Thanks for joining me again, another episode of Pickleball and Politics. I wish I had some more pickleball for you. I am sort of working on something where we may be having a lot more pickleball content soon. Everybody I know is away this week. They're going away. So I was supposed to play the other day. It rained, and the rest of the week, everybody's gone. They're all gone. I was gone last weekend. So what are you going to say? 'Tis the season. It's the end of July, so people start to take off. It's been beautiful the last few days, so there's no reason why I couldn't have played, though my allergies are wicked bothering me right now. That's so Boston right now that I just said wicked, isn't it? But they are bothering me. So if my eyes tear, I'm not crying. It's just my allergies are driving me crazy. So as far as politics, I'm going to continue to talk about my experience at Turning Point Action this past weekend in Palm Beach, Florida. First of all, Palm Beach was really, really nice. I don't think I talked too much about Palm Beach. It was clean, and I went to Publix there Friday night, and there was a scuffle in the aisle, and the police had to come, and people were beating each other up. And I said to the checkout girl, the clerk, I said, the cashier, I said, "Is this normal?" And she was like, "No, this has never happened here before." So they were all like quite, upset about it in the store. And the manager was standing in the front just like this. Oh, he was like taking charge, I'll tell you that. But Palm Beach was nice, except for that little disturbance with one of the people threatened to slice everybody's throats. Needless to say, I didn't get too close to that, but it was interesting. So one of my favorite speakers at Turning Point, and I mean, what a cast they had. Truly, the lineup was incredible. But one of my favorites was Tucker Carlson. One of his first speeches since he was fired, as he said, and he was fired. Boy, was he fired. But it was also coming off of his interview the night before with Mike Pence. And man, did he talk about that. Wow. Did he talk about his interview with Mike Pence, who when asked if he was worried about the decline in American cities, how they're dirty, how there's tent cities everywhere, how the drug crisis has reached new heights, and that so many people were homeless and on drugs and living in tent cities at all these different cities around the country. Mike Pence said that wasn't his concern. Yeah, how do you like that? Somebody who wants to be president of the United States of America, but the decline in U.S. cities in the last 3 years with the tents everywhere, and they're everywhere, and meth miles, and all the other little fentanyl alleys going on, not his concern. His concern was what was going on in the Ukraine. Well, you know what? You're disqualified right there, Mike Pence. I'm not sure if I'd ever vote for you anyways. Actually, I wouldn't vote for you anyways. And us conservatives out there know why. But the idea that you're more concerned about the Ukraine than you are about American cities, sorry, I don't want you as president of the United States. And you know what? It's something none of us are ever going to have to worry about, because I guarantee you, Mike Pence will never be president of the United States ever. So Tucker talked about that, but he was concerned about how fentanyl kills Americans every single day. 100,000 people died of fentanyl overdose last year. The Russians didn't kill one American last year, he said. Not one. Actually, Russia hasn't killed Americans for a really, really, really long time. And yet 100,000 people are dying because of the amount of fentanyl that is just being flooded over the border. Everybody knows someone who has died of a fentanyl overdose. Every single one. Actually, at Turning Point in line, a woman in front was talking about how her daughter got hooked to fentanyl, and that her life is a disaster now, despite trying and helping that girl all she could. She said she was there. And it reminded me of the women I met in Manchester who'd also lost their boys to fentanyl overdose. This woman had a girl, and you could see the pain in her face. These are real issues that affect people. Real Americans are affected every single day by the drug crisis in this country, especially with fentanyl. So he said fentanyl has killed all these people, and yet no one seems to care about fentanyl. Nobody's talking about the 100,000 people who've died of fentanyl. 100,000 people have died of fentanyl. If they died in a war, we'd be talking about them, wouldn't we? Yeah, but fentanyl? No big deal. What are you going to do? Gosh, I'm old enough to remember the war on drugs and just say no. So the idea that the government has just let the floodgates open and are not fighting back at all about our kids being taken over by these drugs, I will never understand. He also said that he was fired because of what he said regarding J6. And we know that's to be true. And he said, though, if we don't have free speech, we don't have democracy. That it's this ability, it's the ability for someone like me with just a little tiny mic in front of that beautiful flag can come on here and just tell you what I think. That's the basis of the democracy of this country. This is what makes America so great. Our ability to free speech freely. Our ability to speak freely is what makes us great. We have that amendment, the First Amendment, the right to free speech. If without that right, we have nothing. Democracy is dead. He also said that narcissists will attack you for exactly what they're doing. And we know that to be true, don't we? And that the words are being punished. The words that we are punished for, or I should say the words you are punished for saying, are always true. And and he's living proof of that, isn't he? With everything that happened to J6, he had all the proof, and yet, boom, Fox fired him. Why'd they fire Carlson? Why'd they fire Tucker? Because he was telling the truth. Because he was telling the truth. And the words you are punished for are always true words. People are being punished every day simply for telling the truth. This is where democracy could die, on our inability to speak to each other anymore, freely, without the thought police attacking us. That's for sure. He also talked about how they're put stories out simply to enrage you, for no other reason but to enrage you. They want you to be enraged. They want you to be outraged, and they're designed to send you into a screaming fit. Because so much that goes on just is maddening. We talked about that. We've used that word all the time around here. Maddening, maddening, maddening. They want you upset. They want you to get so upset that you scream and you go into a rage. They want that for you. Example is the big story last week that men can breastfeed. No, men can't breastfeed. They can't. That's meant to enrage you, to make you scream, and to divert you from what's really going on. Because every one of these little stories they plant that make you go, oh my God, come on, give me a break. This is ridiculous. Men cannot breastfeed. It's only to divert you from the truth. Because while they are diverting your attention, they are stealing this country right out from under us. Right out from under us. They are stealing this country. And the biggest steal, besides some of the really big steals we've had in the last few years, would be our inability to have free speech. But every single day, more and more of our language is being restricted. And I'm not talking about those horrible swear words. I'm talking about just calling someone a woman. Who's a woman? Calling someone a man. Who's a man? I'm a woman. I'm not a person with a uterus. No, I'm not. I'm a woman. And that's how they're encroaching on our free speech. And when they encroach on our free speech, they're encroaching on our democracy. Tucker was fantastic. He laughed half the time. He got that this is all like beyond the point of ridiculousness. And he was fantastic. There's a new book out. I think it's called Tucker. That's an autobiography on him, or a biography on Tucker. I forget which one. He didn't write it. And it talked about his humble beginnings and how he was abandoned by his mother and all other kind of things. And they said with what Tucker went through growing up, it's amazing that he has the attitude he does. So you might want to check out that book. It's called Tucker. I don't know who the author is. It just came to my mind right now. Tucker was fantastic. And I wish Tucker all the best in whatever he's doing in the future. The rumbles there, he's going to start his own network. And wouldn't that be fantastic? We end each episode with Dink of the Day. I will probably be doing a few more highlights of Turning Point. It was fantastic. I would say looking back, one of the best things that happened to me at Turning Point is they cut off my phone. I'm sorry. They hacked my phone. I don't know what they did with my phone, but I had no service inside that auditorium that day. And in retrospect, I think it was one of the best things because instead I just wrote notes. If I had cell phone service, I probably would have been texting people with a bunch of nonsense the whole day and not even absorbing half of the conversations that were happening in front of me, around me, on the stage, the speakers. I would have been too busy texting people. And it made me think to myself, you know what? Sometimes we maybe need to leave the phone back in the room, in the car, and just focus on what we're doing, because the phone's this huge distraction. And if I had my phone, I wouldn't have 18 pages of notes right now to share with each and every one of you. So you're going to be hearing more because I had time to write it all down because they hacked my phone or they cut it off or they interfered. I don't know what they did, but they messed with it. How's that? As you know, we end every episode with the Dink of the Day. And I'm going to say, maybe dink is a strong word for this, but I got a comment recently that I got a comment. I want to get this right. A comment that the flag behind me was propaganda and a prop I was using and that it was propaganda. Okay. Someone actually called this beautiful, gorgeous flag behind me a prop and propaganda. Let me tell you something. This flag, I am so, so proud to stand in front of, I'm sitting, okay, technicality, to sit in front of, to stand in front of, to pledge allegiance to. I am so proud of that flag. I am so proud I'm American. I love this country. If you didn't know I love this country, I suggest you go back and you watch my very first video that sometimes I even laugh at myself. And I talk about how I became conservative, why I love this country, and everything it means to me. I will never be ashamed of that flag, ever. I love that flag, and it is not propaganda. I am proud of that flag and all it stands for. Okay, you can reach me on Instagram at Pickleball and Politics, on Getter at Pickleball and Politics, on Twitter at Pickle and Paul. You can go to my website. I finally got some videos up there. Woohoo! Pickleballandpolitics.com. Or you can see me right here on my YouTube channel. Give me a thumbs up. Give me comments. I love the comments. I'm really, really reading them. And you can go back and watch some of my other ones too if you're just new here to the podcast. And you got anything to say? Please share it. All right. Until next time. I don't know how many more stories I'm going to have about Turning Point, but I've got pages and pages, so you never know. And like I said, we got some pickleball stuff happening real soon, so that should be in the next week or two. All right, until next time, thanks for joining me on Pickleball and Politics.